in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rebelpreneur Radio, the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. Is there such a thing as being more productive and being more physically fit in your business? I think there is, and that's why we always talk about being physically fit as well as being mentally fit, because if you feel good, you're going to do good, you're going to do better work. Today's guest is going to help you understand how she is able to help people slim down without dieting. So I'm fascinated. I am hooked. I want to know more. I am here today with Bronwen Oehlschlager. She is someone who teaches and supports Powerhouse Influencers and entrepreneurs how to slim down, get lasting results, and level up their life without dieting. So, Bronwen, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thank you.
Now, I had a few minutes to practice your name off air, and I'm still not sure if I got it right. So I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about who you are and where you came from. But I'm trying to say your name is Bronwen Oehlschlager.
It's Bronwen Oehlschlager.
Bronwen Oehlschlager. It makes sense when you say it, but when I say it, I get my tongue wrapped around my eye teeth and I can't see what I'm talking about.
Well, it's cool because you're saying Oehlschlager, and that's actually kind of how it fits together. It's Oehlschlager, and it means oil crusher. Ah. It's actually the fat that you get out of the olive oil. Oh. And the Schlager is the crusher that gets it out.
Very cool.
So it's a fat slayer.
And you know something about that. So tell us a little bit more about how you get started into this area of helping people to slim down and get lasting results without dieting.
Well, my story is, I didn't know I was going to end up teaching this, right? I did it for myself because I kept yo-yoing, and I was up and down, and 8 sizes over was where I peaked at my highest, and I was like, oh, we're going to do something about this. So, I mean, enough is enough. You know, I wasn't always the hot mom. I was the couch mom, and I was hanging out on the couch, hiding behind my phone, doing my business, not doing very well, doing well enough, you know, but hiding. And I didn't want anybody to see me. I didn't want them I didn't want to discredit myself by being seen, you know, and it was just this never-ending struggle inside of me. But so I had to do something about it. I got up off the couch and I became a scientist, and I made myself the guinea pig, and I just started testing out things. And I was an emotional eater, right? So what I had to do was for me to find the thing that was the simplest thing that as an emotional eater, I could get my head around and actually do long-term as a lifestyle for the rest of my life without it being hard. It had to be easy.
Now, what is an emotional eater? Is that someone who is eating for a feeling or comfort as opposed to actually needing to eat? They're trying to fill a gap in their emotion.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. There's eating because you're hungry, because you need fuel. And then there's eating because you're in need of comfort, you're mad at somebody, you're trying to punish yourself or somebody else. That rebellion eating that people do because they made a plan for themselves, but they're really not willing to do it, and you just want to stick it to somebody, you know? Yeah. And there's celebration eating. That's the one I think people don't recognize.
Interesting.
We eat because we're at a party. We eat because, you know, there's always something to celebrate. It's like there's something every month and sometimes every week, depending on how social you are, you know, and it's okay. I'll just have a cheat day. And that's like every day, right? Yeah. So, yeah. And there's a way that you can go and eat and have a nice time and not create extra layers in your body. You got to deal with that mind diet first, because otherwise you make all kinds of excuses. And this is where I was. And that's where the people that I'm teaching are. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. So what was the thing that turned around for you that got you to figure this out? How did you connect the dots and realize this is what's going on in your life and overcome it?
Well, it took me a really long time, actually, because I was trying out all the different things. And like I said, I had to know for myself. I had to prove everything wrong in order to find the thing that was right for me. And so I found simple eating things and just science about my body that worked. That has nothing to do with nutrition. In fact, one time I said, I'm going to prove this wrong. And I sat down and I ate all week only Oreo cookies at every meal.
Oh.
I felt so sick, but I lost weight. I do not recommend it. Just let me be the guinea pig on that. It was really...
So how did you lose weight on that? Was the point of that to make yourself so sick of Oreos that you never went back to them?
No, but that's a good point. If you do that, you definitely feel that way about them. But no, it was the science was if you only eat when you feel hungry and you stop as soon as you are satisfied and not full, just the hunger turns off, then you won't put on extra layers and you'll actually end up taking some off.
So the secret is not, well, I guess what you eat is important, but you're saying when you eat is even more important.
When you eat is what helps you stay slim. It's what helps you make it last. So if you have a lifestyle based on understanding when to put food into your body for fuel instead of eating to comfort yourself or to play or, whatever, rebel, any of the things that we do for comfort or for emotional eating. If we understand when is the right time to eat so that our body won't say, thank you, I'll just put that on as a store of fat because I can't use it right now, then we serve ourselves with our slim down. Now, nutrition is huge. Nutrition is huge. I just specialize in what creates the slim down effect.
Interesting.
And we can work really, really hard exercising and eating good nutrition. We can do that. Keto, all of these things work. Counting your calories and everything. But most emotional eaters will not maintain those things for their life. So they'll yo-yo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the other part of what I teach is emotional.
And that's probably, quite frankly, where the majority of people are. They're up and down, and you're saying that's because they have not addressed the emotional aspect of their relationship with food.
Exactly. And there's so many things involved. I mean, we pull it apart, and it's quite intricate. We find all kinds of reasons why people do this to themselves. But it really comes down to this core thing, is that we think we love ourselves, but when it comes right down to it, we don't love ourselves enough. We don't love our tomorrow self enough to do the thing that we know works today.
Interesting. So you work with...
Does that make sense?
It does. And I think that's really interesting, seeing that you work with powerhouse influencers and entrepreneurs who are looking at the opportunity off in the future and willing to put in the hard work and the investment now to get what they want later. But then when it comes to their physical health, they're not so entrepreneurial, are they?
Not so much. But when I'm working with this kind of individual, it's easier because they know how to be committed to something. So all I have to do is help them see how being committed to this it's basically the same thing, just make the commitment, make the decision. The problem comes when they get stressed out because business is stressful, and then they want to turn to their old comfort food to try to feel better, or they're tired and they want to turn to food to make themselves wake up a little bit, and that doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. It depends on when and what, but mostly putting food in when you can't use it, your body's just going to put it on to store the fat.
Yeah. Interesting. So, So the people that you work with are entrepreneurs and business owners. There's stress and there's different things going on, maybe at a more intense level than other people, or at least a different kind of stress than what people who don't run a business experience. So I mean, we've talked about a lot of different issues, but what do you think is the most common problem you see specific to the entrepreneurs and the real go-getters that you're working with?
Okay. Well, the biggest problem that I see is this: they're going after it, but they're kind of going after it in the wrong way. They're trying to hide, kind of like I did back in the day before I got up off the couch. Weren't willing to do all of the things and weren't willing to do the most simple things to make it go, in a bigger way. And it's the same principles that we're seeing in the body. Not only did we want to hide, like for me, I wanted to hide, and this is the same with my students that I work with. They're afraid for people to see them because it's going to mess with their credibility. And when we're afraid of, our credibility being messed with because we're so worried at our core about what we look like, and knowing, we know most people that I've ever met are not really thoroughly, they're not really happy to have extra layers on. Everybody wants to be at their best. Am I right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't met anybody who doesn't feel that way. So when we don't feel like we're at our best and we know we could do more, but we're not, and see how this translates from business to weight loss. And when we move those things out of the way, things just kind of they explode with the business. And we can do this. We can move the emotional stuff out of the way while we're working on our slim down. We don't have to be perfect first. And I think that that's my core message to entrepreneurs. We can do this and let people look and watch while it's happening, and they can just see how awesome and committed and powerful you really are.
Yeah. And
there's a wait.
And it is a process. It's not something that's going to just happen overnight or in a few days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not, I don't promise any time limit because I'm working with emotional people, and sometimes they slip up on themselves, and then there's an emotional thing that we deal with around that. But yeah, it's a lifestyle. If you're going to make it last forever, the result, then we got to just be okay with doing the lifestyle instead of to see if it's going to work.
So what?
And there's a whole mind shift around this.
Why is it so hard to make that shift? I mean, especially with entrepreneurs, business owners who are really, ready to tackle and overcome challenges in other areas of life. Why is this particular thing such a hard thing for people to really get focused on and overcome?
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's rebellion, Rebelpreneur. It's
is
rebellion. It is. They want to stick it to somebody and blame somebody else for their problems. Blame, villainize Bronwen for telling them the easy thing to do that it's just still so hard because of the stuff that's going on in your head. It really is. You got to rebel against the rebellion.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. So I like the way you take and you shift the focus and you borrow some of that energy for business and move it into the body. And okay, let's redirect some of that focus and some of that passion and energy that you are pouring into your business. And let's get at least some of that working in your body and rebel against the rebellion. And I think you're right. Because I think the typical rebelpreneur is somebody that doesn't like to be told what to do, wants to create the rules. Yeah. And like I say, break the rules, live the life you want to live, build the business you need for the life you want. But part of that life is understanding that your body and your health has a lot to do with your success in business and therefore your success in life. So I really like how you're focused on delivering that result. What can someone start to do right now to see some immediate improvement in this area of their body, or maybe it's their mindset? But if you were to give someone a self-help process, what would that look like?
That would look like, I'm going to say I've got 3 tips.
Okay.
The first tip is what we've already talked about. Only eat if you feel a hunger signal. And a lot of us who are emotional eaters have numbed that signal. So that will be, find that signal.
Mm-hmm.
Go find that hunger feeling. And hunger is low blood sugar. So, some of us don't feel that growling in our stomachs, but we feel like our blood sugar is low. So look for that. That's tip number 1.
How
only
often
eat with that?
Only eat when we're hungry. How often should we be hungry? Is that something that's like 3 times a day? Is it once a day, 5 times, or does it vary with different people?
It varies, and for me, it varies by the day. It depends on what I'm taking in. So if I'm eating really heavy foods, I'm not going to be hungry as often. If I'm eating really light food, I'm hungry more often. Sometimes as often as 2.5 hours between meals. If I'm like, I feel like salad or shakes today, I get hungry more often because my body can use those calories easier, So it depends on the day. I do not eat by the clock, except for, here's my next tip. I give myself, and I suggest this, it's like key, give yourself a digestive rest between 7 p.m. and 4 a.m.
Between 7
people
p.m.
that wouldn't
and 4 a.m. Okay, so don't eat too late at night and not really, really early in the morning.
Yeah, well, I'm saying if you give yourself a digestive rest between 7 p.m. and 4 a.m., this is a time of night when your digestive juices are low and a lot of stuff just sits in your colon, and a lot of extra stores are created during that time. But if you just allow a digestive rest, and you will get hungry, but let it go. You're not going to die. You ate all day. You're not going to starve, Be glad it only lasts a few minutes, and then it goes away and you can go back to sleep, Now
going
and if
back,
it does last longer than 20 minutes.
But going back to your first point now, I can already see people saying, well, but Bronwen, I'm hungry all the time. So how do we deal with that? But that's where you're talking about it's emotional. It's not actual physical.
Yes, it's not, but it's not only emotional. And this is where, we could talk for 50 hours about this. That's why I've designed a course to take people through it a step at a time, because there are a lot of factors. There's a lot of, there are ingredients in our nutrition that create gut health issues that make us, we think we're hungry all the time, but it's really this monster that's going on in our gut that's saying, feed me, Seymour, and it's, if we can stop, there are ingredients, because I still eat pie. I eat whatever I want. There are ingredients I steer clear of, though. And because they create a problem. And I have an entire course designed to teach people the basics of that. So it's not like overkill. Like I said, I could go on and we would have a really long interview today. but so there are a lot of questions to answer. But if it's not every hunger signal that you think was hunger in the past, you're going to find out really, this is about being really in tune with your body's real cues. So you're going to find out what was a craving, what was all in your head, what was a gut health issue, and what's real.
Okay. So there's lots of different signals that we're getting that says, you're hungry, feed me. But they're not necessarily genuine signals. And part of what you do is help people distinguish the difference.
Yes.
Awesome.
And it's so important. And if we can conquer that, then we can conquer eating disorders,
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the digestive rest, just believe me, I'm not going to go into that any further. But if you feel hungry longer than 20 minutes, please take a good drink of water, because you're probably not really hungry.
Interesting.
Probably thirsty.
Great.
And then here's my third tip, and this is an emotional tip. This one throws people for a loop. We're not used to doing this kind of thing. But go to the mirror when you brush your teeth in the morning, when you brush your teeth at night. Look yourself in the eye. For 2 whole minutes, just make yourself do it. It can be really hard at first. Look yourself in the eye and see you beyond your body. And and this might sound cheesy. When I first did it, I thought I was crazy, but it felt weird and good. So I just kept doing it, and it worked. He said, "I love you, Bronwen." And I just kept looking, and I had my little weepy meltdown because that's what it pulls out of you. But then after you do it a few times, you start getting stronger and you start feeling more confident in who you are. And that self-love is what we're lacking. You know, we stop worrying about what everybody else thinks. Just look at you and love who you are. And if you can do that, you can do it all.
Very cool. So I like that. Three basic steps to at least start moving in the right direction. Number one, only eat when you're hungry. Number two, give your digestion a break between 7 p.m. and 4 a.m. You know, no late night snacking and big meals before you go to bed. And then the third thing, 2 minutes of self-love in the mirror. Just look in the mirror and say, "I love you." I like it.
It's magic. It's the simple things that make the big impact.
Yeah, very cool. So you've got some great tips, but what do you do for people, for clients? How would working with someone like you really help them get where they want to be and improve their chances of success as opposed to trying to figure this out on their own?
Okay. Oh, I love that. And in fact, that's what I'm passionate about, because I didn't want to be alone. I went and got support. And it was emotional support that I really needed. But working with me, I have these gifts. And so when we're one-on-one, I can look at you. I can hear what you have to say. I can pretty much see what's going on and help you peel back the layers. So I'm a guide to helping you get to the root of something. And I've had people go, "This is so eerie. How can you know what's going on with me?" And I've done this with enough people that now I have digitized a course that I'm really super excited about right now. And so, but what it is as long as we can be super aware of what's going on, then we can go, "Oh," and especially with the type of person that I like to work with. "Oh, well, yeah, that now that I see that, of course I would do it that way." It's easy, you know, now that I know. But there's so much emotional awareness to get. It's not just about the eating, right? There's so much emotional awareness to get that it takes a process, and it takes study, and it takes, you know, a hand to hold. So that's where I come in, and that's where I shine. I love working with people through this stuff, and I love helping people actually get to the point where they can graduate from me. That's I love it.
Very cool. Yeah. So tell us about your program. What do you have out there for people?
Okay. Well, the thing I'm excited about right now, I've got a lot of things. I do events, and I've got an event coming up, but I'm really excited about this thing. I digitized this course, and I've worked with enough people to see the core things that come up over and over again and how to help people become aware with them. So you don't have to, it's like I'm helping entrepreneurs, right? They're busy. So digitizing this course actually made it so that I could help more people. And I want to get this message out to millions of people. So that's what this helps me do. This is what I'm doing. I'm on a mission. I'm calling it Mission Eradicate Emotional Overeating Disorder. And I know that's like the biggest mouthful, but I couldn't make it smaller. It's what it is.
It is what it is, right?
It is what it is. And the course is all about straight talk. And, you know, it's all about straight talk and just becoming aware. And I like to do gentle straight talk, but we straight talk. And what I'm trying to do right now, my goal is to get this out to 1,000 people who are willing to help me and just do this value exchange. I'm discounting it a lot so that I can get some really great feedback and improve it and maybe make it longer or shorter depending on what my ideal audience is looking for, because this is the first time I've digitized this course. I've had it tested. We're in phase 2. So that's what I'm excited about right now.
Very cool. Very cool. So how can our listeners who find themselves in this situation and are interested in overcoming these emotional obstacles and this emotional dysfunction, this dysfunctional relationship that we have with food very often. How can our listeners find out more about the products and services that you have to offer and about your digital course?
Awesome. Yes, I have a website, and this is where everything happens. It's called realandslim.com, and I'm going to spell it because I know that it's crazy. RealNSlim.com.
Realandslim.com. I like it.
Yes. Thanks. We got to get real before we can get slim, and it's about loving yourself.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, this has been really educational, and I think it's a paradigm shift to consider
really?
how we look at food, how we interact with it, when we interact with it, and yeah. So this has been great. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our listeners as we get wrapped up?
I think that, yeah, I would like to invite everybody to remember that there's a core shift that you can have within yourself if you stop blaming somebody else. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You can shift you. It's your job to choose your feelings.
Very good. Very good. Well, we can't always choose our circumstances, but we can choose our response, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, I've been speaking with Bronwen Oehlschlager. She is a teacher and supporter working with Powerhouse Influencers and entrepreneurs, teaching them how to slim down, how to get lasting results, how to level up their life without dieting. And you can find out more by visiting her website at realnslim.com. That's real, N, the letter N, slim.com. Bronwen, it has been a real pleasure to have you on Rebelpreneur Radio today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at ralphbrogden.com.